Hey YouTube, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm gonna be continuing with the Juno through the houses series, and this video is gonna be about having your partner's Juno in your second house in SYNASTRY. So as you all know now that Juno is the asteroid that shows long-term commitments, partnerships, marriages, loyalty, and the type of partner that you could be looking for, or the kind of partner that you show up as in a commitment and in a partnership or marriage, for instance. However, on the other hand, when it comes to the second house, this is the house of finances and the house of material possessions, self-worth and values, and in some cases property. And this house is ruled by the sign of Taurus, so it's also about security, stability, and comfort when it comes to a lot of these things. These things can be emphasized, or they can be very important in the relationship to both of the partners, both the Juno person and the second house person, with the Juno coming into the second house. In fact, with this SYNASTRY, it's the Juno person who can feel very invested in this relationship, and that can even be in material ways or in financial ways. But the Juno person feels the sense of being very responsible and wanting to be able to ensure the well-being of the finances and of the material possessions and status, and they could strongly value the second house person's sense of security and stability, and they can even feel like it is something that they are taking on in this relationship. So they could be very invested when it comes to these things in the relationship with the second house person, and they could really want to be able to build something more secure when it comes to something that's going to last a long time with the second house person, and that practically is making sense for both of them, so that they have that secure bond in their relationship. This can be something that the Juno person could be taken very seriously in the relationship with the second house person. Whereas on the other hand, the second house person could feel very valued, and they can feel very supported by the Juno person because of this. And they really are, when it comes to the way that the Juno person feels about the second house person in these things. And the second house person can really come to appreciate that about the Juno person in their relationship. In this relationship, the Juno person could be a person who is providing a sense of material security for the second house person, and they could also be in a way building the second house person when it comes to self-worth through supporting them in a lot of ways. And that can be something that the second house person really appreciates about the Juno person in this relationship. In fact, this relationship can have an effect on the second house person's self-esteem, and that can be in a positive way, and it can really build the second house person up when it comes to their self-image or their perspective of themselves through having the Juno person support and being around the Juno person. And this relationship has a lot of emotional security as well that's available to both the Juno person and the second house person when it comes to the way in which they are influencing each other. And if ever there are any challenges in their relationship, they can be very closely related to finances and more so material security in their relationship, because both the Juno person can either share similar values on this, or they can have different perspectives. And it can also be a feeling of pressure or being very burdensome, especially on the Juno person when it comes to this relationship and when it comes to things to do with money and providing that sense of stability and security. They could either feel motivated to do so, or they could feel very pressured if they find that it's something that they feel like they aren't providing to the best of their abilities at the time, in a way that they feel like they should be able to. In the positive, this placement can show having shared values and having similar or shared goals as well that they can both work towards, and this relationship can be one that has a lot of stability and security because it is a focus for both the Juno person and the second house person. And within this relationship, there can be the sense of them contributing to building something of value. And it's going to be something very important to both of them. And the Juno person can take a lot of satisfaction or feel very fulfilled in being able to contribute towards the security and having a positive impact on the second house person. And just that overall feeling of contributing towards building something that's going to be of value and of long lasting kind of value between the two of them is something that can be very fulfilling for them in this relationship and quite possible for them to build. And it can also act as a very important element of the relationship and be a very significant source of that feeling of emotional satisfaction in this relationship for the Juno person and for the second house person. Overall, having this synastry with somebody is especially beneficial when it comes to the more practical things and the goals that are more so practical being achieved and being able to be maintained throughout their relationship for a long time. Another positive about this relationship is how it can positively impact their finances or their material and financial status when it comes to being influenced, the influence that they have on each other, as well as the influence that this relationship has on them. For the both of them having had come into each other's lives, they can influence each other in a way that can build each other up and even raise their self-esteem as well as their status. And this can take a very positive effect on both of them when it comes to their resources and even their sense of self-worth as a result of what they build together through this relationship and even how they grow as individuals. And having a lot of shared and mutual values as well as goals and perspectives when it comes to more practical things and even just when it comes to building a sense of stability and security in the long run, you make it so that they have a lot of respect for each other and this general sense of a very deep understanding between each other, which can be very positive and have a great positive effect on their relationship, especially in practical ways, especially when it comes to ensuring that what they are building is something stable in the long run that can really provide a lot of security for both the Juno person and the second house person. And in fact, there can be a lot of growth that comes out of being in relationship with each other. And especially for the Juno person, they can learn to really appreciate and take into more consideration the more practical things like the finances and when it comes to the material status and well-being of themselves and the second house person. The Juno person especially can come to learn to have a greater appreciation for the more practical things in life through this relationship with the second house person. And similarly, the effect of the Juno person coming into the second house person's life can make it so that the second house person is also learning a lot more about commitments and valuing partnership and commitments more from the Juno person. In this relationship, the second house person can have more of the focus on more practical things like finance plannings and also when it comes to just managing resources, which is something that perhaps they have more of an understanding of or more of a focus towards than the Juno person, and they could impart that knowledge or help the Juno person grow in these fields and aspects of life. And the Juno person can also offer a deeper understanding to the second house person when it comes to commitments and relationships, which can lead to them both mutually growing in these areas through their relationship with each other. And they can build a very stable and sustainable long-term relationship because of them offering these two things to each other in this relationship. And when it comes to the more challenging side of this relationship or any possible disadvantages or cons that can come up in this relationship, it can be in how there can be too much of a focus or emphasis on the material side of things. And this can make it so that other parts of the relationship can be neglected or under acknowledged. Things like having a deeper spiritual connection or them having and investing in their more emotional and their more intellectual part of their relationship for the sake of overemphasizing or over-focusing on the material aspects in their relationship. as well as any, say, financial concerns that could be in their relationship. And too much of an emphasis on things like the material side of the relationship can also have a way of leading to negative effects such as control issues when it comes to the material and the possessions in this relationship, which is why this can lead to a possible challenge or downside to this side of the relationship. And another one is how there is an emphasis on ensuring stability and security within the relationship. And so because of wanting to maintain this, there could be a resistance to any spontaneity or anything that could feel like it's going outside of what is the known and what is the safe zone in this relationship, which can also lead to this feeling of them having stagnancy in their relationship and a lack of spontaneity. And in that way, as it's also a lack of growth in certain areas. However, overall, having this synastry with somebody can really contribute to a very strong sense of empowerment for both individuals in this relationship. And it can also have an effect of healing old wounds and beliefs when it comes to things to do with self-esteem and worthiness and building trust to move beyond just material security when it comes to building the foundation in the relationship. Because having this synastry with somebody can also lead to building something that goes even beyond that. And given their shared values and their shared aspirations, they can also go on to build a legacy together. And this can even come through investments and through any kind of projects that they can take on together or any kind of endeavors that they take on together. And in this way, they can bring a sense of lasting fulfillment, and there's a sense of a shared purpose through their relationship because of having this synastry with your partner's Juno in your second house. Well, that does it for this video on having your partner's Juno in your second house in synastry. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it and could have found it helpful. If you did, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up and to subscribe to this channel for more videos. Well, that is where I love and leave you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next video.